Hello everybody, today we're going to be going over a Asheara support Witch Doctor. Now this is by no means some meta breaking thing that's going to replace, what the current meta is. Unfortunately, the meta is Z-Barb, ZDH, 2 wizards. That's it. There's not going to really be anything that's going to beat that. However, if your group is not super hardcore and they'll let you play a Witch Doctor, this is probably about as good as it's going to get for a Witch Doctor support. That being said, we can go over the gear. So first off, Asheara's. This causes your followers to come to your aid. Now this is going to be kind of the crux of the build. Having all three of your followers come is going to bring a lot of cool buffs. Two-piece Mundanugus. The reason we do this is just Big Bad Voodoo follows you around and lasts twice as long. So this is pretty good because Big Bad Voodoo gives attack speed, and you can also take Slam Dance, which increases the damage of all nearby allies by 15%. So you pretty much just kind of stand on the wizards when you do this, and you'll increase their attack speed, which is actually good for wizards, and then you'll also increase their damage by 15%. After that, Flavor of Time, obviously, just so pylon effects will last longer. Lukumba's Ornament, reduce all damage taken by 60%. This is just damage reduction. Now, you are supposed to be running this alongside a ZDH, and there's also a kind of a meta that has formed that I should probably mention, where people are running 3 supports and 1 wizard just because of the lag, and the Asheara's Witch Doctor actually works out pretty well in that third spot as well, alongside like a Z-Barb and a ZDH. But okay, so anyway, so you go Lukumbas, gives you more DR. Then I go Crimsons. This is going to give you more damage reduction, a ton of damage reduction actually, on top of more CDR, more resource cost reduction. Then I go Ingeom. So since we're kind of in a speed meta where even when you're doing like 150s, if your wizards have high enough Paragon, you're going to be doing 150s super fast. So like you can keep this Ingeom up and it just gives you more cooldown. And then Storm Shield simply for defenses. Rochelle's Ring of Larceny just for extra movement speed, and an Oculus Ring because dropping Oculus Rings to help increase your wizard's damage and give more Oculus Rings is keeps the Oculus Ring uptime higher, meaning your your wizards have more options to stand in as well from like a positional standpoint, because sometimes Oculus Rings spawn in like really bad spots. Stat wise, I mean, typical support stuff. You're gonna have, since we're in kind of like a speed type meta, your CDR, and because of Ingeom, like you're gonna have like everything up like all the time. So you shouldn't worry a crazy amount about CDR. The main thing that I have found is resource cost reduction, because that reduces your damage taken, and the only issue I've really had is survivability issues. Now granted, there's a couple ways to fix this, and one of them is to slot in rubies, which I don't know why the heck this is. And then if you put a resource cost reduction in here like I have, that's more DR from your Crimsons. Okay. When it comes to gloves, I like to go, so attack speed, life on hit, CDR resource cost reduction is good. CDR resource cost reduction is pretty good. Int Vit armor. Int Vit armor is going to be ideal on your pants. Int Vit life percent and armor is going to be ideal on your belts. I have on the wrong Lukumbas, but here you're gonna want int Vit armor and life per hit, I believe, on your bracers. And then on your Flavor of Time, I mean, CDR resource cost reduction, Vit, and attack speed I think would be like the god roll, but I don't know if in any dimension that ever rolls that way. I use Gogaka's Swiftness, Esoteric Alteration, and Gem of Aphasis Toxin. So Gogok, more CDR and attack speed. Gem of Aphasis Toxin, all enemies take 10% increased damage from all sources and deal 10% less damage, and Esoteric just for survivability. So that is the gear. So now going into the actual build, Soul Harvest Languish, increased armor, just because in those higher tiers, you want to make sure you can live. Uh, Horrify, Face of Death, just increases the radius of Horrify. Spirit Walk, Severance, just gives you a lot of movement speed, so you can keep walking ahead and putting your Locust Swarm on everything. Locust Swarm, Cloud of Insects, enemies affected deal 25% less damage. Real quick, that's pretty important. I'll go over the cube in a second. Piranhas, Piranhado, enemies affected by piranhas take 15% increased damage. On top of, it'll pull them in. You can also run frozen piranhas if you have a pull effect and you don't want to DR them. Then Big Bad Voodoo, you can run Slam Dance, increases damage by 15%. Ghost Trance heals all nearby allies by 5% of their maximum life per second and reduces all damage taken by 20%. So if you're having trouble, living, that's pretty good. Swampland Attunement, just get a bunch of defense for everything that's around you. Whenever you deal poison damage, its damage is reduced by 25%, so you have a lot of damage reduction in here. So like when you put Locust Swarm on something, you get 25% and 25%. Reduce the cooldowns of Hex, Gargantuan. This is just to help keep your Big Bad Voodoo off cooldown. And then Spirit Vessel is just kind of a failsafe if, oh man, I stood in a abomination or something. Okay, on to this cube. Ring of Royal Grandeur. You don't actually need this Ticlandian Visage. So the reason why I run Piranhado is I was testing out Ticlandian Visage to see if the Fear and Root would be good, but it's really not. But with the Piranhado, you can actually proc Strongarm Bracers, so enemies hit by knockbacks suffer 30% increased damage for 6 seconds. So that's pretty good. And then I use Vile Hive simply because it gives your Locust Swarm the Pestilence Rune, which causes it to spread faster. So you're getting that DR onto everything. You pretty much put, especially if an open map, if you put Locust Swarm on one thing, it's just going to spread across the whole entire map and reduce everything's damage. Now, on to the next important thing. We got to look at the gears. The gear ears. So, you need to have your followers geared out to 25,000 strength. I personally reduce the cooldown of follower skills by 50% because I'm trying to maximize what my followers can do. So Intervene, Loyalty, Onslaught. The reason why you take Onslaught is because when he uses it, it causes enemies and nearby enemies to take 10% increased damage. Guardian is just kind of a failsafe. Then, so gear-wise, Broken Crown emanates, Homing Pad emanates, Nemesis Bracers, just so you can proc it whenever it comes out. Overwhelming Desire, I have this on all of them, and it's just because it's another damage amp. So if they charm an enemy, it's most consistently hit on, obviously single target on the Rift Guardian, since it only does it to one enemy, unless they're using an AoE ability with this procs, but that gives 35% increased damage. Captain Crimson's just to give some DR since you're not running the follower can't die. Talrasha's because it has attack speed. Ring of Royal Grandeur, Oculus Rings to have more Akis. So because when you get all three followers out, you're gonna find you got Akis out the wazoo, like out the absolute wazoo. Insatiable Bell, I just have this up simply because it increases his maximum life by 5%. It just helps keep him alive, but there's other options. And then Sky Cutter, because this is optimal, but I like having an angel out to attack, because you know what, why not get 4 things out? I could have 3 followers and an angel, why not? Wall of Man, 29% chance to be protected by a shield of bones in your hit. This is just good, another good survivability item for him. The Scoundrel, so same thing. I'm going Crippling Shot, then I'm going Hysteria, which actually it really doesn't matter. Both of these are damage increases and you're in support, so this is kind of useless. And then I go Piercing Shot, range attacks pierce and increases damage done to enemies by 10%, so it's another damage increase. And then Knight's Veil, and this is really where I think the Scoundrel really shines, is that it puts down a 20-yard area, and anything that gets hit inside of it is automatically critical hits. So on bosses, you crit cap things, really, like on Rift Guardian bosses, assuming you don't get bad RNG and he casts it and then it like teleports away, which does happen. I use Unbound Bolt, Gloves of Worship, Homing Pads, Kane's Insight just for attack speed, Overwhelming Desire, Gold Skin, Satiable Belt, Nims, Oculus Ring, and then Tally's Reflection because I just don't have anything better, but their main goal is to get their stats to 25,000. Then we go here, same thing, so Kane's Habit. Oh, I have her set up for a farm build at the moment, but that's still fine. She has 22,000 int. It's close enough. I'll have to go adjust this a little bit, but you know, Nemesis Bracer, Homing Pads, Gold Skin's good. You can put Captain Crimsons on them if you want. Thunder Fury, just because it helps reduce their attack speed and their movement speed reduced by 30% for 3 seconds. So that's gonna help. That's gonna help reduce attack speed, give some more DR. I have a Flavor of Time on her right now because I've set it for farming, but this would normally be an Overwhelming Desire. So Temporal Pulse, it's just an AoE slow. Amplification, you want Prophetic Harmony as a Z just because it's 10% more CDR. Then you have Erosion, conjures a pool that does another 10% increased damage. And then you have another failsafe right here because you don't really need. You can also do Focus Mind or failsafe. I actually like to do Focus Mind if I'm not having any survivability issues. So, alright. So that being said, the reason why I kind of like this though is because when you calculate up like the potential damage increase, so you have 30% from their abilities here, you have 35% here, so that's 65. You have 10% here from all from that. Then you have 15% here, 15% here, so you're up to like 110% potential increased damage, which is actually pretty huge. So, like if you can get the like kind of like the God setup where you have like all 3 of them out and they're all, you know, using their abilities, you have a potential for a max of about, I think, 115%, because I don't know if Overwhelming Desire stacks for each thing. So like if you have all 3 out on the Rift Guardian, I don't think it stacks where it would be like, oh, it charms Rift Guardian and then or something like that. So yeah, so I think your potential's up to like 115% or something around that number, which is pretty good because when you're in speeds, if you can do 115%, you've made up that other, you know, wizard not being there on top of being able to reduce the damage. So I think specifically in a 3-man setup, this is probably, you know, that's probably the most optimal setup when you're doing it to try to avoid all of the server lag. But otherwise, it's kind of a subpar barbarian, I guess. But it does have, you know, some DR and it does have some damage increase. So like, but the, you know, with the barbarian having the movement speed increases and stuff, it kind of sucks to lose that. So yep. But anyway, you know, go ahead, copy this build, give it a shot. Interested to know what you guys think and how it goes for you guys. And thanks for watching.